What if one bold decision, made in seconds, was enough to shake up Ferrari, redefine a weekend, and possibly tilt the balance of the 2025 Formula One season? In a Miami sprint race filled with uncertainty and chaos, Lewis Hamilton delivered just that. A masterstroke of instinct and timing that stunned not only the paddock but his own team. As rain loomed and the track sat on a knife's edge between damp and dry, drivers hesitated, engineers scrutinized data, and teams clung to caution. But Hamilton, he didn't wait. In a moment that could be remembered as season-defining, he trusted nothing but his gut, and what followed was a breathtaking display of racing intelligence that left even Ferrari in disbelief. But let's rewind to how it all unfolded. As the lights went out on the Miami sprint, the track's condition was what engineers dread most. Ambiguous. Not soaked enough for full wets, not dry enough for slicks. It was a tactical deadlock. Most drivers, understandably, leaned on caution, letting analytics guide their every move. In the garages, strategy teams pored over telemetry, waiting for someone, anyone, to blink first. But while hesitation gripped the grid, Hamilton made a call from the cockpit that would cut through the noise, a switch to soft tires. At a moment when such a decision seemed premature, even reckless, he acted on feel, not formula. And that single act turned the entire race dynamic on its head. And here's where it gets crazier. This call didn't come from a pit wall meeting or a race engineer's algorithm. It came from a champion's feel for the car, for the road, for the rhythm of competition. With the track changing lap by lap, Hamilton's move looked like gambling. But in reality, it was calculated risk built on years of elite-level driving. Ferrari, conservative as ever, watched from the sidelines, unconvinced. They feared the softs would crumble under patchy grip. But Hamilton had already committed. His radio wasn't a question, it was a statement. And with that declaration, the authority shifted. He wasn't taking orders, he was giving them. The tone was set. From there, the spectacle began. With fresh softs and no fear, Hamilton ripped through the field with terrifying precision. Each lap looked like choreography. Flawless lines, aggressive yet balanced braking, and overtakes that left no doubt. The track might have been inconsistent, but his performance wasn't. He slashed through competitors one by one, turning what had started as a conservative run into an offensive masterclass. It was a relentless charge that elevated him to a third-place finish, but more importantly, elevated Ferrari's morale. Because what mattered wasn't just the result. It was the message it sent about what this team can be with Hamilton in control. But that's not all, because the psychological fallout from this moment might be even more powerful than the podium itself. Ferrari, a team plagued by indecision, second-guessing, and constant reliance on simulation tools, saw something different. What it looks like when you trust your driver. Hamilton showed them that clarity doesn't always come from data. Sometimes it comes from courage. That kind of confidence is infectious. The garage felt it. The engineers felt it. Even rival teams had to acknowledge that something important just happened. Ferrari wasn't just watching a driver succeed. They were watching a philosophy shift, live. And if you think this was a fluke, think again. This performance came after a string of frustrating weekends, failed car upgrades, and post-race interviews dripping with doubt. Ferrari looked like they were spiraling. But Hamilton's gutsy gamble wasn't just a breath of fresh air. It was a blueprint. Even in an imperfect machine, a perfect decision can change the narrative. He didn't need the fastest car. He needed the clearest mind. And when he made that call, he didn't just secure a strong finish. He reignited belief inside a team that had all but lost its way. A belief that one fearless driver could be the spark they needed. Heading into the Grand Prix itself, the energy was different. For the first time in weeks, Ferrari entered a Sunday with momentum. real momentum. The ripple effect of that one decision had everyone walking taller. It wasn't about tire compounds or fuel loads anymore. It was about confidence, about rhythm, about the return of a team that looked ready to fight. The Miami Sprint was supposed to be a minor event, a prelude, but instead, it became a prologue to something potentially transformative. Hamilton didn't just race, he rewrote the script, and in doing so, he reminded the paddock of what he's always been capable of. But listen to this, because what Hamilton did was more than just a racing move. It was a signal to every team on the grid that he's not done, that no matter how tough the start to his season may have been, he remains a force capable of reshaping entire weekends with a single decision. This wasn't just about beating the stopwatch, it was about outthinking the best minds in the sport. And with that kind of mental edge, Hamilton proved that he's not just chasing podiums. He's changing the game. That should terrify the competition and inspire Ferrari to lean harder into what they have. And here's where the real question lies. Will Ferrari recognize this moment for what it truly is? Will they double down on Hamilton's instincts, allow him more strategic freedom, and finally let a driver of his caliber lead without restraint? Because if they do, if they choose evolution over rigidity, this could be the beginning of something profound. A shift from playing not to lose, to racing to win. Hamilton offers more than just lap time. He offers leadership, clarity, and a vision for how to navigate chaos. And in today's F1, that's worth more than gold. So don't look at that Miami Sprint as just a third-place finish. Look at it as a symbol of what happens when instinct trumps indecision, when experience outweighs fear. Ferrari may have started this season stuck in their ways, but Hamilton just gave them a new map, one that leads through boldness, through trust, and above all, through action. The kind of action that changes not only the outcome of races, but the identity of a team. Now, as Ferrari stands at this crossroads, all eyes are on what comes next. Will they continue to fall back on spreadsheets and simulations? Or will they finally embrace the driver they hired not just to race, but to lead? Because make no mistake, what we witnessed in Miami wasn't luck. It wasn't random. It was a driver stepping into his full power and pulling a legendary team along with him. Whether this moment becomes a spark or a full-on ignition, that choice now lies in Ferrari's hands.